Hello, friend.
Hello.
So today I'm going to teach you a new comprehension strategy, and it's called Making Connections. And we're going to do this by reading one of my favorite books called Chrysanthemum. So while I read, we're going to try to make connections to our own lives. And so to do this, if you think of a connection, you're going to raise a C in the air like this. So for example, do you or one of your friends have a name that's like super hard to say?
Aaliyah is kind of hard.
Yeah, so to do this, we're going to make a connect. Like, Aaliyah is kind of hard, so I'll make it because I know you.
Gwendolyn is a long name. I have a friend named Gwendolyn.
Yeah, exactly. Good job, good job.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's begin by reading Chrysanthemum by Kevin Hankins. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' life. She's perfect, said her mother. Absolutely, said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. I remember when I was born, my parents always talked about how they loved me, and my dad even cried because he thought I was so beautiful. Her name must be everything she is, said her mother. Her name must be absolutely perfect, said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum grew and grew and grew, and when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. Yes?
I grew a lot when I was younger, but
You
I don't
did?
grow anymore.
You're done growing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, really? I think you'll grow some more.
I don't know.
She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner. And she loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when it was written with ink on an envelope. She loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. I know I love when I have my name written on my own birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with a fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect, and then she started school. On the first day, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. She ran all the way. Hooray, said Chrysanthemum. School. Do you remember the first day of school?
Mm-hmm. I remember I wore an outfit I really liked too.
You did? Were you excited to go?
I was very excited.
That's so awesome. Just like her. But when Mrs. Chud took roll call, everyone giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. It's so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on your name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria, and you're just named after a flower. Chrysanthemum wilted. That just means she was really sad and a little embarrassed. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Mrs. Chud that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. That's exactly half as many letters as there are in the entire alphabet, Victoria explained. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chud. Now put your head down. Yeah.
I had nap time when I was in kindergarten.
You
it was
did?
the best. Yeah, I slept on a towel.
Do you miss kindergarten?
I do. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Not all the time. Nap time I do miss.
First grade's pretty fun.
First grade is very fun.
If I had a name like yours, I'd change it, Victoria said, as the students lined up to go home. I wish I could, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. My name is too long. It scarcely fits on my name tag, and I'm named after a flower. Oh, pish, said her mother. Your name is beautiful. And precious and priceless and fascinating and winsome, said her father. It's everything you are, said her mother. Absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner. Macaroni and cheese with ketchup?
Ew.
I've never had that before.
Sounds gross.
A little bit. And an evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could. She dragged her feet in the dirt. Chrysanthemum, 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 she wrote. She even looks like a flower, said Victoria as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. Let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Jo. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, a chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in a garden with worms and other dirty things. Thank you for sharing that with us, said Victoria. Victoria said Mrs. Chud. Now put your head down.
When at recess, we play in the mud with like worms and stuff sometimes.
Was it fun?
It was fun. The worms are all wiggly.
Wiggly! I just cannot believe your name, Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. Neither can I, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. They said I even look like a flower. They pretended to pick me and smell me. Oh, pish, said her mother. They're just jealous, and envious, and begrudging, and discontented, and jaundiced. Those are just a bunch of fancy words meaning that they just wanted to be like her. Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours, said her mother. After all, it's absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt like a trifle better after her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting. Ooh, that is one of my favorite desserts. In another evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. She sprouted leaves and petals. Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and petals one by one until there was nothing but a scrawny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and her good luck charms. Do you have a good luck charm?
No, but I know people that do.
Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school. She stopped and stared at each and every flower. Chrysanthemum, 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 the flowers seemed to say. That morning, the students were introduced to Mrs. Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as everything else was about her. The students were speechless. They thought Mrs. Twinkle was an indescribable wonder. They went out of their way to make a nice impression. Yes?
The music teacher at my school, Mr. Valentine, was super cool.
Super cool. Music teachers are the best. Mrs. Twinkle led the students in scales. Then she assigned roles for the class musicale. Victoria was chosen as the dainty fairy queen. Rita was chosen as the spiffy butterfly princess. Jo was the all-important pixie messenger. And Chrysanthemum was chosen as a daisy. Chrysanthemum's a daisy, Chrysanthemum's a daisy. Jo, Rita, and Victoria chanted, thinking it was wildly funny. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. What's so humorous? Asked Mrs. Twinkle. Chrysanthemum was the answer. Her name is so long, said Jo. It scarcely fits on her name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. She's named after a flower. My name is long, said Mrs. Twinkle. It is, said Miss Jo. My name would scarcely fit on a name tag, said Mrs. Twinkle. It would, said Rita, pointing. And, said Mrs. Twinkle, I'm named after a flower, too. You are, said Victoria. Yes, said Mrs. Twinkle. My name is Delphinium. Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby is a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it is absolutely perfect. Chrysanthemum could scarcely believe her ears. She blushed, she beamed, she bloomed. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Has someone ever complimented you?
Mm-hmm.
Did it feel good?
It did feel good.
Aww. Jo, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. Call me Marigold, said Jo. I'm a carnation, said Rita, pointing. My name is Lily of the Valley, said Victoria. Chrysanthemum did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it. The end. Okay, so now that we've made all these connections, we're going to make a chart so we can remember how you connected all of those to your life and how you connected this book to your life.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.